family. We stand united in our grief and our desire to bring those who committed this crime to justice.
Thank you. Be seated, please. Ladies and gentlemen, this public hearing of the Baltimore County Council now come to order. The council is holding this public hearing in order to accept testimony from county residents on the desired qualifications of the person whom this council will elect to serve as county executive for the remainder of the current term of office. Please keep in mind that this is the only subject of tonight's hearing. This is not a candidate forum. We will not accept negative comments about a current office holder or candidate, or for that matter, any person. We invite their thoughts about the qualifications for interim county executive. We hope everyone will be respectful of this process and the views that will be expressed. Also, please keep in perspective the tragic circumstances that bring us here tonight. I'll now read the rules for this procedure, or the procedures for this public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak should have registered already with the secretary in the hallway. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. Please note that there is a clock over there that will display the remaining time as you speak. When the clock reaches 0, you can conclude your sentence, not your paragraph, not your page, not your thoughts, your sentence, or else I will be forced to do something I don't want to do, which is to bang the gavel and ask you to please stop. So, the purpose of the time limitation is to ensure that everyone has an opportunity to address us tonight. When the speaker is called, the name of the next speaker will also be called, so that the next speaker will come forward and be seated to the seats directly in front of them. So hopefully everyone understands, and hopefully we will be respectful of each and every one here. And I just want to thank everybody for coming.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Councilwoman Hall.
I have a statement I'd like to read, please.
You may.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I spent this morning at the FOP Lodge with my grieving police family. The loss of Officer Caprio is tragic and profound. Our county has suffered in the last couple of weeks greatly. Honestly, this is a council meeting we all wish was not taking place. I know I speak for all of us when I say that our prayers are with Jill, and Dylan and Carson, and the entire candidate's family, both personal and professional. It's an extraordinary time for Baltimore County, and a humbling time that forces us to stop and think about our values and what truly matters. I spent the last year traveling around the county, learning about communities and neighborhoods from Dundalk to Randallstown, Catonsville to Pikesville. I've met outstanding community and business leaders, and I've learned so much. This time, this experience and these relationships have been an incredible opportunity and a gift. As an activist and a council person, I've always fought for and cared deeply about the people I serve. Together, we've led the charge to feed Baltimore County's impoverished children. We've helped to establish our school resource officer program, and we voted to invest $1.3 billion in our schools. And every vote has been an honor. Kevin Kameniss believed in fair and vigorous campaigns, and so do I. Kevin's successor should not be chosen as part of a political coronation by council colleagues. This was not who Kevin was, and it's not who I am. Choosing a person to serve as a caretaker for the remaining months of County Executive Kameniss' term should not be tainted by politics of the pending campaign. That is why, despite having the support of my Democratic colleagues for this appointment, I'm taking my name out of consideration to be selected by the council to serve as county executive for the next few months. We all want what's best for Baltimore County, and while I'm honored to have the endorsement and the support of my Democratic colleagues on the county council, I believe the county executive should be chosen after a strong campaign and by the people. And quite frankly, I'm confident in my ability to win this election fair and square. I love this county, I love this council, and I am going to do the best job I can to win this election. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Allen. Councilwoman Bevan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is why I so much appreciate you, Councilwoman Allen, and your truth and your moral compass. You had my support no matter what your decision. I believe that you made the right decision for the county, and I will continue to support you. And thank you so much for your comments. I'm sure everyone really appreciates them.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Quirk.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to state that we all talked to Vicki. She definitely had 4 votes. She beat county executive fairly soon. And she just outright declined. And she kept saying she did not want this to be a coordination, that she was confident that she could win this primary and general election on her own accord. And she said this is what the people should really decide. So I want everybody to know that. And she also said too, that wouldn't it be nice if we could have a person in this role that could get 7-0? This is not time for division and acrimony. I mean, we just had a police officer die. We just had our county executive die. I think this is time for healing and unity. So I do give great credit to Vicki for leading on this.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Quirk. I'd like to basically just, copy, edit, paste the comments of my colleagues. It's no doubt about it that Councilwoman Allen certainly had the support of each and every Democrat here. And I just praise her decision to put the best interest of the people at heart and decide that, it takes a big person to say that they're going to win fair and square, and they did not want any leg up or anyone to somehow think that they were getting an advantage. So we certainly appreciate your leadership, appreciate your comments, and I guess think it's very big of you to do it. On that note,
No, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair,
yes.
I would like to applaud Mrs. Allman's decision. These are extraordinary times in Baltimore County, and I was just at a community meeting last night in the Turner Station community, and I expressed my belief that a person running for office, whether it be for county council or county executive, should not be appointed to this position. And I know there are differing opinions on that, but this is my belief, and I express that to my community. And Vicki, I applaud your courage and your leadership on this and the decision that you've made by removing yourself from consideration. I mentioned these are extraordinary times for Baltimore County, and I think you can tell for those of you in the audience and those that may be watching live that it's with extremely heavy hearts that this council has right now, and these are somber times given the events of yesterday, and then of course the death of the county executive, and we are doing our best to keep this county to be the greatest, just the greatest place to live in this country. And I believe that we are an extraordinary place to live. And we're going through some tough times right now, and I appreciate my colleagues on the council who are working somewhat behind the scenes on just discussing on what the next step is for us. And I'm a proud member of this council. And I think that this county will be just fine moving forward given the extreme circumstances that we're faced with. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman Crandall. Councilman Marks?
I also want to applaud Councilwoman Allman for the grace and strength she showed tonight. She's demonstrated that many times in this council. Thank you very much. We have not just had an extraordinarily difficult month, we've had a very difficult year. And I would like to thank my colleagues for conducting this forum, which shows our interest in receiving public input on this important decision. With this input, I think the council needs to move efficiently, and we need to find someone who, as Councilman Quirk said, can bring bipartisan consensus to this position. Thank you all for coming, and thank you again to Councilwoman Allman.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now we will call Ms. Linda Dorsey Walker and Mr. John Reinhardt. You can come and sit at the front. You'll be on the on-deck, sir. Again, everyone, let's be respectful of everybody's time and speak for 3 minutes.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and the members of the County Council. My name is Linda Dorsey Walker. I first want to give my condolences to Officer Caprio's family and also to the Kamenetz family. I've known Kevin Kamenetz since 1994 when you talked about fair and vigorous campaigns. I know something about that because I was his very first opponent in 1994. He prevailed, I did not. But I went on to serve 5 terms on the Democratic State Central Committee. And in doing so, I learned something about the process of replacing people during vacancies. And that's what I'm here to talk about tonight. That there needs to be a transparent process. One very similar to the one used by the Central Committees, where you have individuals that go through a structured interview process. Applications are taken, certain material is provided, and there is a complete vetting. As you are probably aware, I've already sent you some material in advance of this meeting. I will only go through saying this. I'm not going to go through everything that I sent you in advance. Oftentimes, governments find themselves in the midst of a scandal of the sort that has surrounded Baltimore County in recent years and Baltimore City, because they failed to ask candidates the right questions during the vetting process, or even to have a complete vetting process, which I think is necessary. It's the responsibility of governments to ask the right questions up front, not afterwards. Regardless of how sensitive those questions may be, it's important that candidates see the questions that they may be asked to address in the event that they may want to discreetly withdraw their name from consideration. I will not go through the question I submitted to you because I sincerely think it is a very serious one that needs to be asked of every candidate under consideration. I will say this, if there's any amount of hesitation on the part of any candidate in addressing that question, it should be a deal breaker for that candidate. It's understandable that individuals are sometimes very flattered to be nominated for high-profile positions to the point where they can sometimes forget to protect their interests, their careers, their acquaintances, and the government they wish to serve. Nevertheless, it's in the public's best interest. That's what needs to be considered, not that individual, that those questions be asked up front to avoid any difficulties down the road. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. John Reinhardt, and the next person will be Gary Brewster. You can come sit right here.
Good evening, Council. My name is John Reinhardt. I'm the co-vice president of Towson Communities Alliance, formerly the Greater Towson Council of Community Associations, or GTCCA. I would like to first thank the Baltimore County Council for seeking public input into the selection of an interim replacement for the Baltimore County Executive. Baltimore County has seen recent scandals with former school superintendent and the indictment of another government official. It's clear that the public is very leery of even the appearance of political inside dealing. Does the county council really want to vote to fill the interim county executive with a sitting council person? Appointing a currently serving council person has the potential to affect both the current county executive and county council races. We feel the best course of action for the interim replacement of the county executive would be to appoint a current Camden's administration official, such as Don Moeller, Larry Williams, Sam Moxley, or Fred Holman. Both Mr. Moeller and Mr. Williams have had extensive experience interacting with the county's citizenry. An appointment of a qualified cabinet member of the Camden's administration also maintains continuity of the current administration's remaining 6-month term. In this manner, no current elections are affected nor would be perceived to be negatively affected by the interim appointment of a now serving council person to fill the vacancy. If the council feels that a currently serving council person must serve as interim county executive, then the vote to fill the interim position should be delayed and take place after the June 26th primary. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reinhardt. Mr. Gary Brewster, and next will be Rick Grankowski.
Very good. Krasinski, but it's close.
Mr. Chairman, members of the council, thank you for allowing the public this opportunity to address this important issue. Kevin was my friend for nearly 50 years. We were in 8th grade carpool together. And Jill and Kevin have been to my home many, many times. He'll be sorely missed by us all. I'd like to offer my thoughts regarding the succession process based on my lifelong friendship with Kevin, my having personally worked in the county executive's office for a previous county executive, right there in the mezzanine level, second office on the right, my having worked for many years as an assistant Baltimore County attorney right across the hall, and having held elected office myself. With that perspective, I'd like to ask for your consideration of what I think is the fairest path forward. As we all know, pursuant to the requirements of the Baltimore County Charter, Fred Homan is the acting county executive, with 5 weeks remaining, and there's 5 weeks remaining till the June 26th primary. As the charter states, a majority of the Baltimore County Council needs to appoint a Democrat to replace Kevin. I think the only fair thing to do is to hold off when appointing a successor until the June 26th Democratic primary. That way, the scales won't be tipped in favor of any one candidate. And the citizens of Baltimore County, through the democratic process, will be able to decide who the Democratic nominee should be themselves. Yes, others have been mentioned, and many of them are very appealing candidates. But they haven't been vetted. They haven't been through the process, like those that have chosen to enter the combat of this race to be county executive. Therefore, I most respectfully request your consideration of waiting until the June 26 results are decided so that the citizens of Baltimore County can indicate who that Democratic nominee should be, and that would be the person that gets the appointment. When the charter of Baltimore County was approved by the voters, they didn't say just have an interim county executive that would fill out the remainder of the term. They said, and that could be the 5 months or a year or 3 years, they said, okay, the administrative officer will be an interim, but then they said the county council needs to pick somebody of that party. No matter if it's a Democrat or Republican of the same party. So therefore, again, in conclusion, I think it's the fairest thing to wait and see what happens on June 26th. Let the Democratic citizens of Baltimore County decide who that person would be.
And I greatly appreciate your time and your consideration, and thank you for your thoughtful comments earlier.
Thank you, Mr. Bruce. Mr. Rick Brinson,
Francinski.
it's a P?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought it was a D. Brinson.
What do you think that nationality is?
Oh, I have no idea. That's a cat before, but.
In Dundalk, we know how to pronounce that.
That's right.
I think we'll pass Jones.
I'll be very quick because the comments I had have already been expressed by Mr. Reinhold and Mr. Brewster. I'm a citizen. I am not politically oriented. I'm a registered Republican for where it matters. But I was very concerned about having someone that was running for Baltimore County Executive be appointed as an interim. I mean, that's just totally unfair. And I guess my only question as a citizen, why would you ever even consider that? I mean, that's not fair. That would have given, and Vicki, I admire for what you did to step in, but I just think that would just be grossly unfair. So, since you've heard all the other comments that I was going to express, I have nothing more to say except one thing. I really would like to thank the Baltimore County Police. As being a citizen of this state, I feel so confident that we have such a great police force. And I have no axe to grind except thank them for being on the job. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And Dana Bergman. Go ahead, Ms. Booth.
Council Chair Jones, members of the council, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Kathy Forbes, and I'm a 20-year resident of Baltimore County. And for more than 10 of those years, I've been an education advocate working on behalf of students and teachers in our schools. In that work, I had the opportunity to work with Kevin Kamenetz many times, first as a councilman and later as a county executive. He was a great partner, and with the support of this body, he was tireless in his efforts to build our schools and renovate them. He will certainly be missed. The county charter has given you a great responsibility to pick an interim executive. It's such an important choice. Who you appoint can do a lot of good in the next 7 months. They can keep important initiatives on track and lead our country forward at a time, lead our county forward at a time we can't afford to tread water. We need more than a caretaker. We need someone who has demonstrated that they truly care. While there have been a number of good people mentioned as possibilities, the person who best fits the bill to me is Don Moeller. I've gotten to know Don over the years as I work with both Jim Smith and Kevin Kamenetz. Don has a tremendous grasp of issues affecting county residents today. He has helped 2 executives tackle those issues head on, and not once did I feel like he was putting his own agenda ahead of the county's. Don's not running for anything. On top of that, he's a good guy and a person who enjoys widespread support of members of both parties. Thank you for your consideration, and thank you for holding this forum tonight.
Thank you. Ms. Dana Bergman, and next will be Brad Croner.
I want to start off by saying thank you. I wish I was thanking you guys for your efforts to make attempts to show transparency and an improvement in communication with our county citizens in Baltimore County. I wish that it was under different circumstances, but I do acknowledge that you guys are making that effort, and I applaud you guys for doing so. As a county resident, I'm not native to Baltimore County, but it's grown on me over the past 8 years, and I have advocated and shown a lot of pride for my community, and hands down. And we had a very rough year. So, a very rough year for everybody involved, and we have suffered the past 2 weeks some tremendous loss in Baltimore County. And the interim superintendent, county should be somebody that's neutral, that's not gonna make any waves. Someone that is qualified, that's gonna allow our county to come together during this difficult time and make it till the end of the election. Someone that's not gonna cause a lot of controversy, knows exactly what's going on, and that's gonna be respectful to everybody involved, because I think we need time to heal. I wanna say that I've heard the name Don Mueller, very respectful, very kind individual as a person. I've had the chance to meet him several times. I also think that this shouldn't be made into a really, really big deal, because we have business that we have to do to move forward together. And we have 6 months to move forward and not to change anything dramatically in a way that's going to hurt education or our public service or families. So thank you for this time, and I hope you guys really consider that we need some peace